You're listening to the CyberWire Network, powered by N2K.
And now, a message from our sponsor, Zscaler, the leader in cloud security. Enterprises have spent billions of dollars on firewalls and VPNs, yet breaches continue to rise by an 18% year-over-year increase in ransomware attacks and a $75 million record payout in 2024. These traditional security tools expand your attack surface with public-facing IPs that are exploited by bad actors more easily than ever with AI tools. It's time to rethink your security. Zscaler Zero Trust plus AI stops attackers by hiding your attack surface, making apps and IPs invisible, eliminating lateral movement, connecting users only to specific apps, not the entire network, continuously verifying every request based on identity and context, simplifying security management with AI-powered automation, and detecting threats using AI to analyze over 500 billion daily transactions. Hackers can't attack what they can't see. Protect your organization with Zscaler Zero Trust and AI. Learn more at zscaler.com/security. A federal court finds the FBI's warrantless Section 702 searches unconstitutional. The DOJ charges 5 in a fake IT worker scheme. The Texas Attorney General expands his investigation into automakers' data sharing. CISA highlights vulnerabilities in the aircraft collision avoidance system. Estonia will host Europe's new space cybersecurity testing ground. Hackers use hardware breakpoints to evade EDR detection. Subaru's Starlink connected vehicle service exposed sensitive customer and vehicle data. Asian nations claim progress against criminal cyber scam camps. Our guest today is Dr. Chris Pierson, founder and CEO of BlackCloak, with his outlook on 2025. And sticking AI crawlers in the tarpit. It's Friday, January 24th, 2025. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is your CyberWire Intel Briefing. Happy Friday, and thanks for joining us here today. It is great, as always, to have you with us. A federal court has ruled the FBI's warrantless searches of communications under Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act unconstitutional, citing violations of the Fourth Amendment. Judge LaShawn D'Arcy Hall stated that Americans' communications, even if incidentally collected during foreign surveillance, require a warrant to be searched unless there are urgent national security concerns. She criticized the FBI's practice of querying such data without judicial oversight, noting that in some cases, the agency searched for months without seeking a warrant. The ruling stops short of banning all warrantless searches, but emphasizes the need for tighter controls. Digital rights groups like the EFF and ACLU have hailed the decision, urging Congress to reform Section 702 before it expires in April 2026. They advocate for a mandatory warrant requirement and increased transparency to prevent abuses. The ACLU called Section 702 one of the most abused provisions of CISA, citing widespread privacy violations. The U.S. Department of Justice charged 5 individuals for participating in a scheme involving North Korean IT workers funneling funds to the Pyongyang regime. North Korean nationals Jin Sung-il and Park Jin-song, along with facilitators Eric Takirans Prince, Emmanuel Ashter, both U.S. citizens, and Mexican national Pedro Ernesto Alonso de los Reyes, allegedly generated over $866,000 by obtaining work from 64 U.S. companies between 2018 and 2024. Using forged documents and remote access setups, they concealed the North Koreans' identities, bypassing sanctions and deceiving employers. Funds were laundered through various accounts, including a Chinese bank. Ashter, Takiris, and Alonso have been arrested, with an FBI search revealing a laptop farm aiding the scheme. The indictment highlights North Korea's widespread use of IT workers abroad to generate revenue through fake identities, prompting renewed scrutiny and recent sanctions by the U.S. government. The Texas Attorney General is investigating Ford, Hyundai, Toyota, and Fiat Chrysler over their collection and sale of consumer data, expanding scrutiny on automakers' data practices. This follows a lawsuit against General Motors in August for allegedly misleading consumers about data collection and sharing it with third parties. Texas AG Ken Paxton's office has demanded detailed records from the automakers, including how they collect, share, and sell data, the number of customers affected, and consent procedures. Toyota's inquiry also targets its data sharing practices with connected analytics services linked to its insurance programs. Paxton's broader efforts include a January lawsuit against Allstate for collecting and selling location data from millions of Americans, implicating several automakers. Privacy experts say the entire auto industry is under scrutiny for practices related to geolocation and driving data, signaling ongoing investigations into potential violations. CISA disclosed 2 vulnerabilities in the Traffic Alert and Collision Avoidance System 2, used to prevent aircraft collisions. The first flaw allows attackers to spoof aircraft locations using software-defined radios, while the second enables manipulation of system configurations, potentially disabling collision resolution advisories. While exploitation is deemed unlikely outside labs, CISA recommends upgrading to mitigate risks. Estonia is set to host Europe's new space cybersecurity testing ground. For details, we turn to Maria Vermazis, host of N2K's T- Daily Space Podcast.
The European Space Agency and the Estonian Space Office have set out to develop Europe's newest space cyber range. And the range will aim to make space technology more secure and accessible for companies across Europe. The program will be provided by a consortium led by SpaceIt to begin development. The ESA Space Cyber Range will offer a safe and cost-effective way for companies to test, validate, and develop secure satellite technologies and solutions, and perform cyber exercises and training. The Space Cyber Range will be a virtual environment that can be supported with a physical site to promote collaboration and provide necessary data centers, servers, and equipment. ESA says you can picture it as a sophisticated simulator where companies can create virtual copies of their satellites and systems to check for security weaknesses and practice responding to cyber attacks, all before launching real hardware into orbit, of course. So why Estonia? Well, it is already home to NATO's Cyber Defense Center, and the new Space Cyber Range will be established at Foundation CR14, which is Estonia's national cyber range facility.
Be sure to check out T- wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Modern endpoint detection and response solutions depend on event tracing for Windows to log system activities like memory allocation, thread manipulation, and hardware breakpoints. These logs help detect malicious activities in real time. However, according to research from Praetorian, attackers are increasingly exploiting ETW's reliance on event triggers to evade detection. A common evasion method involves hardware breakpoints, which use CPU debug registers to monitor memory addresses for instructions. Unlike software breakpoints, hardware breakpoints operate at the CPU level and are harder to detect. Attackers exploit functions like nt-continue to modify debug registers without generating ETW logs. This technique avoids detection by EDR systems, enabling covert manipulations like altering MC scan buffer or NT trace event functions. To counter this, security teams can monitor debug registers, enhance API tracking, and leverage machine learning for behavioral anomaly detection. These advanced defenses address critical gaps in current EDR architectures. Security researcher Sam Curry discovered a vulnerability in Subaru's Starlink connected vehicle service that exposed sensitive customer and vehicle data across the US, Canada, and Japan. Along with researcher Subham Shah, Curry found that Subaru's admin portal, meant only for employees, allowed attackers to reset passwords for employee accounts without needing confirmation tokens. By bypassing two-factor authentication, they gained admin access. This access exposed vehicle and customer data, including location history, VIN numbers, names, zip codes, and billing information. Alarmingly, the admin panel allowed attackers to add themselves as authorized users of vehicles, enabling them to remotely start, stop, lock, unlock, and effectively take control of vehicles without notifying the owners. Curry reported the flaw to Subaru on November 20th, and the issue was fixed within 24 hours. The Langkang Mekong law enforcement operation, formed by Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, and China, say they've made progress in combating criminal cyber scam camps in the region. These camps lure workers with fake job offers, then trap them in debt, confiscate passports, and force them into scams under threats of violence. Victims often work under brutal conditions, with some dying during escape attempts. The camps, often located in poorly policed border areas, target global victims through tech support scams or fraudulent investment schemes. China, with 100,000 of its citizens reportedly enslaved, has been a driving force behind the organization's efforts. In 2024, the law enforcement operation reported 70,000 arrests, freeing 160 people and disrupting weapons smuggling linked to the camps. While the group pledges deeper cooperation and intelligence sharing, critics note these promises have been made before, yet many camps remain operational. Coming up after the break, my conversation with Dr. Chris Pierson, founder and CEO of BlackCloak, with his outlook for 2025. And sticking AI crawlers in the tar pit. Stay with us.
We're so done with New Year, New You. This year, it's more you on Bumble. More of you shamelessly sending playlists, especially that one filled with show tunes. More of you finding Geminis because you know you always like them. More of you dating with intention because you know what you want. And you know what? We love that for you. Someone else will too. Be more you this year and find them on Bumble.
Do you know the status of your compliance controls right now? Like, right now. We know that real-time visibility is critical for security, but when it comes to our GRC programs, we rely on point-in-time checks. But get this. More than 8,000 companies like Atlassian and Quora have continuous visibility into their controls with Vanta. Here's the gist. Vanta brings automation to evidence collection across 30 frameworks, like SOC 2 and ISO 27001. They also centralize key workflows like policies, access reviews, and reporting, and helps you get security questionnaires done 5 times faster with AI. Now that's a new way to GRC. Get $1,000 off Vanta when you go to vanta.com/cyber. That's vanta.com/cyber for $1,000 off. Cyber threats are evolving every second, and staying ahead is more than just a challenge, it's a necessity. That's why we're thrilled to partner with ThreatLocker, the cybersecurity solution trusted by businesses worldwide. ThreatLocker is a full suite of solutions designed to give you total control, stopping unauthorized applications, securing sensitive data, and ensuring your organization runs smoothly and securely. Visit threatlocker.com today to see how a default deny approach can keep your company safe and compliant. It is always my pleasure to welcome to the show Dr. Christopher Pierson. He is the CEO and founder of BlackCloak. Chris, welcome back.
Hey, it's great to be here, Dave.
I know, a lot of us have responded and seen the terrible news of the killing of the United Healthcare CEO. And I wanted to check in with you on that because obviously you and your colleagues at BlackCloak are in the middle of protecting executives. I wanted to get your insights. Like after that event happened, what were the phone calls you were getting? Was there a mandate coming to you from CEOs and boards saying, find us better protection for ourselves?
Yeah, so unfortunately, massively tragic events. But what this has really shown is that the risks have changed. What people wanted to talk about, both chief information security officers and chief security officers after that point in time, what they really wanted to focus on is how can we go ahead and mitigate some of the risks to our executives, board members, and their families? How can we mitigate the digital breadcrumbs that are out there that lead folks to where they might be in terms of their location, in terms of their presence, in terms of their residences, even in terms of their personal private email addresses and phone numbers? And what types of steps can we, security professionals on the inside of the company, do to kind of reduce this inherent risk to an acceptable level of risk? And it went beyond, your traditional physical security, review of the home, alarms, professional drivers, into an area which is, hey, what types of threat intelligence is out there? How can we go ahead and assess the privacy better? How can we go ahead and help reduce that attack surface? So it really has become something that a huge amount of incoming from boards of directors, from executives, and from both CISOs and CSOs. And we're obviously happy to field the call, but, it does seem like a lot of those risks and the risk appetite in this area has dramatically changed.
Have things settled down from the initial, is it fair to say, emotional response to this?
Not so much. Not so much at all. I think that this is one of those things that, our kind of take on things has always been that the home is the next battleground. The home is the new battleground. And so what this has done is, just like COVID opened up people's eyes to the fact that the home network is an actual attack vector for cybercriminals and nation states into corporate devices that are being used at home and then into the network. This has also opened up people's eyes to the fact that the personal lives of the executives and their family members is something that needs to be safeguarded. You're not safeguarding Jennifer, the CEO, or Bob, the CFO, or Larry, who's the CTO. You're not, safeguarding them per se. You're safeguarding the role and the position that they have. And that's what the boards care about. That's what the executives and the protection teams care about. I think eventually what's going to happen is that's what the SEC is going to care about. Are you taking care of those things? And so I think this is going to usher in a new era of executive protection for those persons.
So perhaps these things become table stakes?
Absolutely. I think that this is just going to become, number one, it's going to become a corporate mandate. First of all, boards of directors, corporations, the enterprise risk management committees, these are all going to be asking questions about what are we doing? What are we doing to protect our executives? What are we doing to protect those people that are kind of on the About Us, the leadership page of our website? But also, I have a feeling that what we're going to do is, just like public reporting documents, how are you compensating folks? What are you doing that are the key level officers of the company? It's going to be how are you protecting not just the company from a cybersecurity or personal protection perspective, but how are you actually going ahead and mitigating those risks and protecting them that full 24/7?
How do you counsel people on when they've crossed that threshold? At what? And I'm thinking specifically of physical security here. At what point do I need someone to come with me to my kid's baseball game?
A lot of it can be gleaned from an executive threat assessment. So literally a risk profile on that individual and their family. It also can and should include the kids. And that's really a conversation that needs to be had between the security folks, that security professionals that are on the inside of the company and that executive. But there's some things that are just going to be table stakes and mandated as a result of you being the CEO, CFO. We will have a driver for you. You will have an armed driver in other countries. We will have kidnap and ransom. You will have the Mayo Clinic executive physicals, right? Once a year type of thing. And that's really where digital executive protection is headed. You will have personal protection, cyber protection for you and your family as a result of your role. And that really is something that I think is going to be baked in more and more. But that executive threat assessment is a great first step. And it's a great first step at awareness. And also the key to this is you want a willing participant. You want the executive to understand and to participate in their protection because you're going to have greater success.
This is a sunk cost for most companies. You don't make money off of your executive protection. What's the budgeting component here? How do you dial it in to make it make sense?
Well, I mean, in some cases, I think, it was reported in prior years, it's like Facebook spends $17 million a year on Mark Zuckerberg's personal privacy detail for him and his family and all the rest, because they're just big, big targets. The fact of the matter is that the costs of digital executive protection for those persons is going to be dwarfed by the legal costs, remediation costs, incident response costs, investor relation costs, filing costs for SEC stuff. So it's the harm there and the amount of money being spent there on the latter end. It just absolutely, towers over the costs of getting in protection to mitigate, right? Nothing's going to be 100%, but to mitigate those risks on the front end.
Are there common blind spots that folks have? When you meet with people to talk about this sort of thing, what are the things that come up where they'll say, I never thought of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. The first thing I would say is the extent to which their home network and home devices play. In a lot of cases, the things that actually gave them better security. So, hey, we have cameras all around the house that are professionally installed, or you have a professionally installed managed firewall system. A lot of those things that were for good security purposes have actually introduced more holes and vulnerabilities into their systems. So that's always an interesting takeaway. The second is going to be the role that the other persons in the home, especially the kids, play in this. We actually just had one CEO have their teenage son poke a hole in through their corporate firewall that was at home, and literally open up a port so that they could have and host a gaming server at the home, which of course, I know, yes. we both are chuckling, Dave.
To make this about me, when my wife and I were bringing up our two boys, we agreed that, we may be able to outsmart our kids, but there's no way we're going to outsmart our kids and all of our kids' friends, right?
Well, that's right. But I mean, it's one of those stories where, right, the home security was great, but, spared no expense. And then, right, you have the kids are at least home, they're gaming. So this is a positive attribute. They're not down by the river doing something else. But all of a sudden you have a hole in the firewall that the corporate laptop comes into each night. And then third, the exposure of the personal accounts. So the personal Gmail, Yahoo, whatever it is that they're using, it's, they do a great job at work. Yep, I've got dual factor authentication. I've got the YubiKey. I've got the authenticator. But then they say, I got nothing interesting on my Gmail. Well, you got all your personal financial communications, banking communications, legal communications, where you're actually traveling, because a lot of those airline reservations come back to centralized email. It exposes a lot of information. So it's always interesting when the team is meeting with people after the fact of being onboarded in terms of what we're able to find, the exposures, and then obviously needs a solution for.
I suppose there's a certain amount of letting go that they have to do when it comes to trade-offs with privacy, right? Like if you've got a team of people keeping an eye on your stuff, that's a trusted relationship.
It starts all with a trusted relationship, always. The nice thing is, speaking, for us and our platform, is that since it's built from the ground up, it's built with privacy in mind. And Dave, as you know, I mean, former chief privacy officer, you got to instill that in the company and the people, the value, the product, all the rest, and build it with privacy, in there by design. I think overall, what we've seen on the corporate side is corporate executives, board members have had trusted relationships with their professional drivers, the private jets, with the folks that are in charge of kidnap and ransom or medical and all the rest, and even financial. I mean, sometimes corporations have financial and tax experts that are hired by the company to help and assist those executives so they don't have to worry as much about that personal side of things. And so what we've seen is those relationships grow over time. I think it's a trend that's going to continue, especially as those are value enhancing for the executive, but also provide real value and real mitigation into the company.
Dr. Christopher Pierson is CEO and founder of BlackCloak. Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you.
And now, a message from BlackCloak. Did you know the easiest way for cyber criminals to bypass your company's defenses is by targeting your executives and their families at home? BlackCloak's award-winning digital executive protection platform secures their personal devices, home networks, and connected lives. Because when executives are compromised at home, your company is at risk. In fact, over 1/3 of new members discover they've already been breached. Protect your executives and their families 24/7, 365 with BlackCloak. Learn more at blackcloak.io.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
And finally, a coder with a flair for mischief and a knack for naming has unleashed Nepenthes, an open-source tarpit designed to trap AI training web crawlers in an infinite loop of randomly generated, self-referential web pages. Named after carnivorous pitcher plants, Nepenthes doesn't just catch flies. It strands crawlers in an endless maze, wasting their time and computing power like a bad episode of Westworld. Imagine a minotaur in a labyrinth that keeps rebuilding itself, creator Aaron B. explained. Web crawlers, which naively follow links, get stuck in Nepenthes' loop, downloading link after link that leads back to more links. It's hilariously Sisyphean. Aaron describes Nepenthes as part defensive mechanism, part performance art, fueled by frustration over AI companies scraping the internet for profit. Deployed defensively or offensively, it's already been hit millions of times. Who knew the secret to fighting AI overlords was less Terminator, more carnivorous plant? And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. Be sure to check out this weekend's Research Saturday and my conversation with Ismael Valenzuela and Jacob Ferres, both from BlackBerry. We're discussing their work LightSpy. APT-41 deploys advanced deep data framework in targeted Southern Asia espionage campaign. That's Research Saturday. Check it out. We'd love to know what you think of this podcast. Your feedback ensures we deliver the insights that keep you a step ahead in the rapidly changing world of cybersecurity. If you like our show, please share a rating and review in your favorite podcast app. Please also fill out the survey in the show notes or send an email to cyberwire@n2k.com. This episode was produced by Liz Stokes. Our mixer is Trey Hester with original music and sound design by Elliot Peltzman. Our executive producer is Jennifer Iben. Our executive editor is Brandon Karp. Simone Petrella is our president, Peter Kilpie is our publisher, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here next week. Your business needs AI solutions that are not only ambitious, but also practical and adaptable. That's where Domo's AI and data products platform comes in. With Domo, you can channel AI and data into innovative uses that deliver measurable impact. Secure AI agents connect, prepare, and automate your data workflows, helping you gain insights, receive alerts, and act with ease through guided apps tailored to your role. Data is hard. Domo is easy. Learn more at ai.domo.com. That's ai.domo.com.